As a CIA officer, the idea that intelligence officers could be asked to target Americans turns my stomach, and it would shift us into a modern-day surveillance state. Turning the federal government against Trump's enemies goes hand in hand with his use of force in American cities, both federal law enforcement and the military. As of today, the president has attempted to deploy more than 7,000 National Guard members across 5 cities, including right here in Washington. In August, the administration ordered the creation of 2 new National Guard units, a standing quick reaction force that can deploy anywhere in the country, and then separately, National Guard units in all 50 states focused on quelling so-called civil disturbances. At this point, Trump has been very clear about his intent. At Quantico, speaking as commander-in-chief, he instructed his military brass to use cities as, quote, training grounds. And many times, he's floated the idea of invoking the Insurrection Act so that military units can raid, detain, and arrest Americans. The president has already deployed ICE and other federal law enforcement to these same cities across America. In some cases, these federal officers are playing fast and loose with their tactics, which sooner or later could lead to a deadly escalation. The videos out of Chicago are shocking. Federal agents pulling their weapons on highways, firing tear gas into neighborhoods right before a Halloween parade, injuring and even killing civilians. Many are masked, not wearing uniforms, and driving unmarked cars. For those of us who served abroad, it feels like another country, and it's only a matter of time before things get worse. By my estimation, we're about 2 weeks away from a bloody incident that spirals out of control. And this is just the kind of incident that Trump wants to justify more force coming in.
Well, hello there, partner. Go on and hang up your hat, grab yourself a whiskey, and pull up in the easy chair. We're coming off the range of 9 to 5s with a whole herd of news stories that we've been steaming over like a cow patty in the Texas heat. As they say, the chickens are finally coming home to roost. And we're here to ruffle some feathers and ensure accountability ain't just a concept, it's reality. It's that time where the day's drama casts its longest shadow. So let's light a candle to the chaos of current events, the whirlwind of politics, and the tangled webs of corruption that we find ourselves entwined by. It's time to ramble our way into the twilight. Welcome to Sunset Rants.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sunset Rants. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday, and yes, we were off for the week to enjoy that with our families and friends and loved ones, so we're glad to be back with you all. Of course, I got my co-host here and actual producer, Brian. What's up?
I demoted myself. I only want people to think I'm the producer. I'm not really in charge of anything around here.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so we had our holiday, but of course we had a lot of stuff go on. We had a terrible tragedy that happened, which we will get to, of course, and I'm sure you guys have all heard of it. But if you want to follow the show, as always, you can do that on X, the @realworma_AK. If you'd like to follow me on there as well, you can, Elizabitty213A. You could follow Brian at BrianTidwell1 or the Get Off Your Lawn guy. But yeah, let's get into it because we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, and we're going to tie that cold open in with these first couple segments, y'all. In case you're wondering, that was Senator
Lisa Slotkin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Senator Slotkin. She's a former CIA agent. I'm not quite sure what her capacity was when she worked at CIA, but she's now sitting U.S. Senator, and that video comes from back in October, so about 4.5, 5 weeks ago, right before her and 5 other of her congressional colleagues, including Senator Mark Kelly, cut a video telling U.S. service members that, reminding them, hey, you don't have to follow illegal orders. And now we've had 2 National Guard soldiers shot in the face, one of them killed from their injuries. So, yeah, well, we'll go ahead and get into it.
Yeah. All right. Well, first things first, and then we'll get to that tragic story. But this also is kind of all in the mix of what they're alleging the Trump administration is doing. But the USA Today, Trump says he'll look into reported second strike on suspected drug boat. President Donald Trump says he will look into whether the United States carried out a second strike against a boat in the Caribbean that the administration says was smuggling drugs, as he defended his defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, from an accusation that he ordered military officials to, quote, kill them all before the lethal strike. A Washington Post report on November 28th that cited anonymous sources, as they always do.
Anonymous sources.
Isn't that convenient?
Always, yeah.
Said that Hegseth gave a directive to leave no survivors, which prompted the U.S. military to conduct a full-on strike that killed 2 individuals to comply with the order. Hegseth called the report, quote, fabricated, inflammatory, and derogatory, and Trump allies have responded by questioning the story's accuracy. Quote, I don't know anything about it, Trump told reporters on November 30th. He said he did not say that, and I believe him 100%. Trump added he says he didn't do it. The Trump administration's lethal strikes on alleged drug boats that the United States says were aimed at deterring Venezuelan traffickers were already facing congressional scrutiny, and after the latest reporting, lawmakers on the Armed Services Committees in the House and Senate pledged to provide rigorous oversight of the operation. Since September, the administration is known to have carried out strikes on at least 21 boats in international waters that killed 83 people. The reported second strike on the suspected drug boat took place on September 2nd. Trump could not say on November 30th if a second strike had taken place, telling reporters writing on Air Force One, I don't know, I'm going to find out about it, but Pete said he did not order the death of those 2 men. Yeah. It says we'll look into it, but no, I wouldn't have wanted that, not a second strike. The legality of the ongoing strikes is in dispute. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights has said they violated international law. Democrats in Congress are demanding the Department of Justice release a classified Office of Legal Counsel opinion that reportedly says U.S. military personnel involved in the strikes cannot be prosecuted. Trump has threatened to escalate the attacks to land strikes on Venezuela and said on November 29th that pilots should consider the airspace over the country closed. He told reporters on November 30th that he'd spoken to Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, but did not say what they discussed. So I mean, I think they're trying to circle around things like the Geneva Convention and trying, because supposedly it's supposed to protect people who are not taking part in fighting, including civilians, medical aid workers, prisoners of war, wounded or sick soldiers. They limit how wars can be fought regardless of who is right or wrong in the conflict. If you're wounded or sick in the field, wounded, sick, and shipwrecked at sea, prisoners of war, civilians in time of war.
They're mischaracterizing the whole thing because some of the oldest international agreements are related to piracy. And piracy is one of those things that seafaring nations of the world have an obligation to each other to fight against. One of the things that's a textbook definition of piracy is trying to smuggle illicit goods across, international waters. So we're doing the world a favor. We're taking care of pirates, and the last I looked, pirates had no protections under any international law. So I could be wrong. I could be way off on it, but I think all we're doing is enforcing some of the oldest international codes in the world as related to policing piracy. So,
Yeah. I mean, and I don't want to be crude, but if you don't want to die, stop trying to bring those drugs over here. Like, stop doing it. I mean, we're at, what, 21 boats now? They just keep going. Why? If you already know what's going to happen to you, why do you keep trying to bring this stuff over here?
Right.
And then, so I was watching the White House press briefing today. So this was a statement that Caroline Leavitt read. She said, President Trump and Secretary Hegseth have made it clear that presidentially designated narco-terrorist groups are subject to lethal targeting in accordance with the laws of war. With respect to the strikes in question on September 2nd, Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Admiral Bradley worked well with his authority and the law directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated. She also noted a reminder of why these lethal strikes are taking place, because this administration has designated these narco-terrorists as foreign terrorist organizations, and the president has the right to take them out if they are threatening the United States of America and if they are bringing illegal narcotics that are killing our citizens at a record rate, which is what they are doing. Under the previous administration, there was enough fentanyl trafficked into our country to kill every American man, woman, and child many times over. So what's the difference between somebody aiming a whole bunch of missiles at us that could kill millions of Americans versus something that they're trafficking into this country that a lot of the times will just outright kill the person who takes the drug? If not, just make them totally incapacitated, hunched over, and zombies walking our streets.
I mean, functionally, there's no difference. I mean, you can look at it as a chemical weapon because that's exactly what it is.
Right. I mean, people are getting creative. Biological weapons, chemical weapons. The warfare. Like the reasoning for war never changes, but the way in which people declare war on other nations, they're getting extremely creative with that. And they're, because we are such a powerful nation, and because a lot of people have exercised their 2A rights and are well equipped to take care of themselves and protect their families, these people that are trying to take down this country are finding any way they possibly can. And the way they're doing that is taking us down bit by bit, brick by brick, American by American, little by little. And, it's like they just kind of like unleashed everything over the past 4 years because it was open season. I mean, you want to say there was nobody at the wheel, but there were a lot of people at the wheel. Just not the ones that were supposedly elected. Probably.
Right.
But yeah, they're not going to stop with that. Yeah.
Speaking of asleep at the wheel, there are so many levels to this. And yeah, from MSNBC News, DC shooting was part of a CIA-backed unit. A suspect is part of a CIA-backed unit whose veterans have struggled in the U.S. Y'all don't see the outlines I put together for these shows, but I entitled this segment Vetted Ally, in quotes, shoots 2 guard soldiers, kills 1. Anyway, I am not even going to try to pronounce this name. We'll just call him RL. Was a member of Zero Unit, an elite squad of Afghans who faced hardships in the U.S. Oh, the poor guy, due to U.S. and employment issues, experts say. Wonder how long I can read this before I get pissed off and stop. Before RL settled in a quiet part of Washington state, he was part of a secret unit of Afghans who operated under CIA direction and hunted down Taliban commanders in highly dangerous missions. They took malignant actors off the battlefield and saved American lives, period, said Andrew Sullivan, who served as an officer with the Army's 1st Division in Afghanistan and is now executive director for No One Left Behind, a nonprofit who helps settle Afghans who worked for the U.S. military during the war. These members of Zero units, also known as National Strike units, were among the most extensively vetted of any Afghans who worked with American forces. CIA officers held their bravery, skill, loyalty, and agency prioritized their evacuation from Afghanistan following the Kabul of 2021 because they were prime targets for the Taliban. But since arriving in the United States, thousands of these Afghan veterans have lived in legal limbo without work permits, struggling to feed their families, according to refugee advocates. Okay, goddammit. Okay, no, I can't read this anymore.
I know.
We put these people, embedded them in our units with our soldiers. The whole time, we were under the delusion that they could break their freaking tribal affiliations that go back to the fucking Stone Age and be kumbaya and work with us. We deluded ourselves. And listen, I was over there in 2011. I was over there when the, quote, blue on green incidents happened. Every fucking one of those was premeditated. Every one of those assholes were working with the enemy, the Taliban, and they were conspiring to put a bullet in our back every time we were with them. For the love of God, I hope that Rubio and Hegseth can put their heads together, figure out where these motherfuckers are, round them up, and send them back to Afghanistan, because we cannot trust them. They are not to be trusted in this country. And the sad part of it is we trained them.
Yeah. No, I can't even, no, don't be sorry. I can't even imagine how you feel. I mean, it's insane. And you know, the crazy thing about it is that we know these people from this area, they play the long game. They play the long game so long that it will span generations. They could care less if they die, you know, in the name of Allah and you know, and the greater project that they're trying to do, and you know, spread Islam beliefs throughout the entire world and everything like that. They will play the long game. So to think that they wouldn't have people positioned in places to gain trust from America years and years and years in order to be able to come here through that vetting process, program, is ridiculous. And you have to know that. I mean, I mean, I'm just over here speculating, but come on, you guys are in and out of this. You're dealing with this on a daily basis. You have high intelligence. You understand how these people work. What makes you think in any way, shape, or form that you can trust them enough to bring them over here and try to have them assimilate into our country, and that they wouldn't be sleeper cells? Because that's the thing that everybody has been worried about is sleeper cells in this country that could be activated, or they can just decide to activate themselves at any given moment. They could still be in encrypted conversations with people within these terrorist factions. You know, so I was looking to just see like what's the vetting process. So eligibility and screen. Before any vetting, an applicant must qualify for a specific program. Two primary programs are the special immigrant visa, which is the one that this gentleman was on, used heavily in Afghanistan and Iraq for those who work directly with U.S. military, government, or contractors, or priority refugees status for groups who help the U.S. but they didn't meet that SIV status. They must prove their role assisting U.S. forces or agencies, duration of service typically 1 year or more, recommendation letters from U.S. personnel, no disqualifying criminal or security history. Really? This is the vetting. to have people that are from this area to just be fast tracked to this country.
Okay, I'm going to put a link in the chat to. I'll drop it in both YouTube and Rumble. This is an X account that you should follow. He's an active duty United States Army infantry officer, multiple tours in Iraq, tours in Iraq, Afghanistan, and he has a lot of insight into the vetting of these people. And most recently, the past couple of days, he posted 10 real-world incidents in Afghanistan of green on blue incidents, which are what green on blue means. That's when you have a friendly fire incident between your quote-unquote allies, meaning, in every one of those stories, these were vetted, trusted people, interpreters, security, security police, whatever, trusted partners, and in every one of them, it was covered up, brushed aside, brushed over. There's absolutely there's no level of trust with them. I'm sorry, there's just none. I know I'm jaded. Maybe I'm being a little racist. I don't know. If this episode gets pulled from YouTube, I'm not sorry. The story needs to get out. People need to understand what we're dealing with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that link. Dougie, he had asked, did Senator Slacken do the vetting, which is a very good question. I was looking up, and it seems like she didn't work for the CIA in 2021, that she left the intelligence work, before entering Congress in 2019. So that's supposedly, how it all went. But yeah, they're supposed to go through like multiple U.S. agencies to cross-check the applicant, right? The FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, CIA, NSA, the Department of Defense, State Department, terrorist screening database, Interpol, and foreign intelligence partners. Were they all vetted, or were they all just shoved into a huge what do you call it? Air hangar, one of those huge airplanes, and flown over here in great haste?
Basically, yes, just flown over here in great haste. There was not much vetting going on. Again, for those of you who follow Habitual Line Crosser on YouTube, he's now retired Army guy that does the funny airplane videos. Today, there's a major fourth wall break, and he talks about his time working for a task force whose job it was to vet these people coming in at the time. So that's another watch, which will give you better information on what's going on. What's up, Biddy?
Yeah. No, I mean, and I'm curious because one of the requirements is that they have to have duration of service helping the United States 1 year or more. So I would really like to know is that the standard? That's the absolute minimum? They'd have to suck it up and pretend for 1 year, and that box is checked, because that's scary. And not just on
it's not. It's not really all that scary. That Afghan national that some contractor hired to help in the dining facility on the FOB, they came and went. They're local. They got quote unquote vetted. They got a card, and they made pretty good money, which probably they sent most of it to their Taliban handlers. Mm-hmm. But yeah, doing a year like that wasn't no big deal. And then on the weekends, they'd go up in the hills and shoot rockets at us. We knew this was going on. We knew this, Biddy. Yeah.
I mean, man, it's just like on a smaller note, it's just a huge slap in the face to have men and women who put their life on the line, saw their brothers, die, forgive me for saying face down in the mud, fighting people like this who hate this country and will spend their entire lives trying to infiltrate it and destroy it. And then just bringing them over here and then taxing them to give them all food and housing. Isn't that wonderful? Aren't we such a sweet country? Oh, no, wait. We're not a sweet country, are we? We're not giving. We don't have compassion. America sucks. I don't understand why anybody would think that we cared or that we had any kind of moral compass. It's absolutely insane. I don't have anybody who's that close to me. I have an uncle who was in the Vietnam War, but anybody that's close to me that, except for of course you and that were in war with the Taliban and everything like that. But I just thinking about it, it just seems so insane. People from just different areas, when you think about everything that went on, and I'm getting like all these different areas like screwed around in my head because it's not Bangladesh, it's like I can't think of the other. Anyway, I'm like all twisted in my head right now. I can't think, but I just this is what I mean when I say we can question. Of course, we can question the administration. We should hold them accountable when they're not doing things the right way. If things aren't going the way we think that we should go, we can ask questions, absolutely. But to constantly just point fingers and allow stupid narratives to go run amok because we want to be the first one to figure it out, like, chill, because we have a lot to clean up in this country, man. And if we don't have some type of unity and some type of support that we're throwing to this administration that's doing everything they possibly can to clean it up, like, then what the hell are we doing? What are you doing? Like, it pisses me off because I see so many people like, oh, well, I want to see this, I want to see that. And it's like, yes, I do too. But do you understand what's going on behind the scenes? Because I don't. I don't think. Yeah, like, I don't think you guys really understand what they're having to jump over and figure out and get creative with, and people that are sitting right next to them that they're probably investigating, because they think that they might have been doing something corrupt, and they're little by little they're gaining intelligence on them and figuring out what's going on with what they did before they came into office. I mean, there's just a lot.
Well, after that story, you want to see a little bit of a white pill, a rare one in international news.
Yes.
Okay, you go ahead and take this one on.
All right. So coming from CBS News, Pope Leo brings message of peace to Lebanon after leaving Turkey. He wrapped up his visit to Turkey on Sunday before heading to Lebanon, where he aimed to bring a message of hope to its long-suffering people and bolster a crucial Christian community in the Middle East. He preached similar messages of peace and unity within his own Catholic community and more broadly during his earlier stops in Turkey. Leo had 2 key appointments in Istanbul before flying to Beirut, a prayer at the Armenian Apostolic Cathedral, and a divine liturgy with ecumenical. I actually don't know that word. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew, spiritual leader of the world's Orthodox Christians, whose invitation to commemorate an important Christian anniversary was the impetus for Leo's visit. Leo processed into the Armenian cathedral in a cloud of incense as a choir chanted. He praised the, quote, courageous Christian witness of the Armenian people throughout history, often amid tragic circumstances. It was a reference to the World War I era slaughter of Armenians by Ottoman Turks. Pope Francis had termed the massacre a, quote, genocide, angering Turkey, which denies a genocide took place. Leo was more diplomatic in his words on Turkish soil. While in Turkey, the Pope also visited Istanbul's Blue Mosque, an Ottoman era historical structure that has become a popular site for tourists. Here's a quote: "The Pope visited the mosque in silence, in a spirit of reflection and listening, with profound respect for the place and the faith of those gathered there in prayer," said the Holy See's press office in a statement. He was accompanied by Turkish culture and tourism minister Mehmed Nuri Ersoy, the provincial mufti of Istanbul, Emrullah Tuncel, and the grand imam of the Sultan Ahmed Mosque, the Blue Mosque, Faith, Kaya, yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
I felt like I was going to fall off a cliff. On the second leg of his maiden papal trip, Leo will visit Lebanon at a precarious moment for the small Mediterranean country. After years of successive crisis, he is fulfilling a promise of Pope Francis, who had wanted to visit for years but was unable to as his health worsened. Francis often quoted St. John Paul II, who in 1989 said that Lebanon was more than just a country. It was a message of fraternity and coexistence. Under Lebanon's power-sharing system, the country's president is always a Maronite Christian, the prime minister a Sunni Muslim, and the parliamentary speaker a Shiite. Lebanon, a Muslim-majority country, where about a third of the population is Christian, has always been a priority for the Vatican, a bulwark for Christians throughout the region. After years of conflict, Christian communities that date from the time of the apostles have shrunk. It's a very, very long article. I'm not going to read the entire thing. But
Well, it's I take from this there's some steps there, because it's not just Christian, Muslim, Jew. You've got Catholic Christian, Orthodox Christian, Sunni Muslim, Shiite Muslim. Pick your flavor of Jew, right?
Mhm.
So not only do you have the major overall categories in competition, but you have sects with sects within the major categories also kind of. So, Francis is not Francis. Leo's not only reaching across the aisle to, the ancient schism, to the Orthodox brothers, but he's also, trying to make, build a bridge with the secular Muslims who are more or less in charge of most of that area. So, true olive branch of peace, which is actually what you'd expect the church to do, in my humble opinion. I'm not going to get into all the theology of all that. That's just not something I'm going to do on this program. So,
yeah. And, I was wondering if Pope Leo had made any remarks about what's happening in Nigeria, and he was asked, and he did, mention that he basically made a statement that he was heartbroken to hear, everything that was going on over there. So I doubt they would make any trips there.
The Pope is in fact Catholic.
The Pope is Catholic, yeah. Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's nice. I mean, I guess it's nice to have somebody to look up to. It's just, I don't think most people really look at spiritual leaders anymore, and after they speak, think that everything's going to be okay, because everybody's just out doing their own reckless thing. But I guess it could comfort some. It's just crazy. It's just crazy to see this, and then you think about everything that's going on. But, yeah. All right.
Well, moving right along.
Yeah.
Got a story from your hometown. That's tonight's local focus story from the New York Post. Luigi Mangione arrives in NYC court for pivotal hearing sporting cuffs and a dapper suit as crazed fans line up in a twisted show of sport. And this is about as far as I want to go in this. I'll read a little bit because I've got a take, and it's not necessarily the news. Accused Ivy League assassin Luigi Mangione appeared in a Manhattan court Monday, looking preppy. His landmark bushy brows carefully manicured as he smirked furiously scribbled notes for key pretrial evidence hearing in his murder case. The 27-year-old former prep school scholar. Okay. So I kind of asked a question to myself as I was preparing for this episode. Why the fuck is he getting the rock star treatment? And I guess the answer is it's because they're giving it to him. Mm-hmm. They're trying to turn this kid into some kind of fucking folk hero. Mm-hmm. He's not a hero. Mm-hmm. He walked up, pointed a gun with a suppressor on it, and at the back of somebody's head while they were leaving a conference, and just shot him in cold blood. I mean, it's open and closed first-degree murder. But we're trying to throw all these narratives on it, and I really think it's very dangerous, he had it coming narrative to it, that this thing has. Well, he was an insurance executive. Mm-hmm. Those are the worst people on earth. Well, Charlie Kirk was a Christian nationalist, and he was calling for the genocide of trans people. He was literally. Do you see the through line of this, Biddy?
Mm-hmm. Oh, if the National Guardsmen weren't put in D.C., they wouldn't have died.
They wouldn't have died. Mm-hmm. If they had disobeyed their questionably legal orders, which they weren't, they're perfectly legal orders, mm-hmm. to deploy to Washington D.C., they wouldn't have got shot in the face by a disgruntled Afghan that we've basically given everything to. I don't know what the hell he was disgruntled about. Well, he couldn't find a job because he couldn't get a visa. Well, I mean, thank fucking Joe Biden for that shit. That's the mess. And you know what? He's never gonna face accountability for that shit. I mean,
I'm surprised he wasn't given a CDL license.
Right? Hell, I'm surprised Joe Biden's still alive. Have you seen the video that popped up over him this weekend? The man could he's a literal zombie. He's walking around with his arms up, just I'm Joe Biden.
4 more years, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like he could have done 4 more years in office. Give me a fucking break.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's more things that are scary because a lot of people are taking the bait too. A lot of people are taking the bait, especially with this case with Luigi Mangione and this whole thing of like, the Super Mario Brothers, Luigi, and, people showing up with the video game character costumes on, and, girls showing up with makeup on to the mm-hmm. hearing and whatnot. And, because he's like good looking and everything. It's like I mean, you can feel like there's a lot of corruption going on at the highest levels, but once you start saying to yourself in your head that they're intentionally trying to harm you with their actions or their inactions, then you start justifying to yourself that this person is less than human and doesn't deserve your mercy. And this is what the people that are pushing these narratives and allowing these things to fester and, saying these little buzzwords here and there. And, you saw that cold open video with Senator Slotkin and, the things that she was saying. They want chaos. They want a civil war to break out. They want the people of this country to start fighting each other. They want total collapse of this nation. And it's not going to be, it's not one thing that they're doing. It's many things. We're being hit from every angle, indoctrination in our schools, anger, rage baiting, things on social media and regular media. politicians and people that you're supposed to look at and say, well, they're in the know, they understand the laws better than I do and the ins and outs of things. And if they say that there's illegal orders happening, well, then they must be correct, right? I'm not going to go and look it up and see if or question why aren't they saying which illegal orders that they're referring to. They're just keeping it open-ended just for your own, whatever you want to just insert here.
It's getting worse than that. Billboards are starting to show up outside of Fort Bragg and other installations that say that basically say, "Hey, is this what you signed up for?" And just basically trying to sow doubts in the troops' minds. And I tell you what, a lot of those kids, 18, 19, 20 years old, yes, they signed their name on the bottom line, but they're still very impressionable. Mm-hmm. And you get a senator or Congress critter that's saying, hey, I swore the same oath you did. And what I'm telling you is go against everything that you've learned since basic training. You first put footprint on your feet on those yellow footprints. And you swore, and basically you were told to not question orders, instant obedience. And you start sowing doubt. The last thing we need are a bunch of troops questioning their officers on the NCOs on every little thing. And this it breaks down discipline. It's insidious. It's dangerous. And yeah, they need to stop inserting themselves into the chain of command because they do not belong there, and they don't belong there for a reason. What's that? Is that my third or fourth rant so far?
Probably fourth. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I don't even know. And these are the things that I was talking about earlier too, is like, when you talk about like the seditious six and, all these people and now they're talking about the auto pen and voiding,
mm-hmm.
Things that Biden did. I want to see accountability. Absolutely. We definitely need to, if we're going to stop this crazy train that we're on. I just don't know how easy it will be to bring a lot of this to the forefront when we still have so many corrupt judges out there that are just either going to stall the process, throw it out, make the DOJ and have to start over again, make sure that they don't bring things that get tossed out or whatever, or say they don't have standing, and then have to kind of go back to the drawing board and then make it last even longer. I imagine that the deep state and all their tentacles, it's well embedded, and I think it's going to take a lot of work. It's not just signing on the dotted line and then go and execute the order. It's going to be a lot of work to tackle all of this. I just hope that they're figuring it out.
Amen. Well, can you give us something different, Biddy? Maybe kind of lighten the mood a little bit.
Yes, yeah, please.
As much as a story about fungus can lighten your mood, but
I mean, this is where we are, though. Fungus is the white pill. All right. So from Science Alert, this is actually really interesting now. Chernobyl fungus appears to have evolved an incredible ability. The Chernobyl exclusion zone may have been off limits to humans, but ever since the Unit 4 reactor at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded nearly 40 years ago, other forms of life have not only moved in, but survived, adapted, and appeared to thrive. Part of that may be the lack of humans, but for one organism at least, the ionizing radiation lingering inside the reactor's surrounding structures may be an advantage. They're clinging to the interior walls of one of the most radioactive buildings on Earth. Scientists have found a strange black fungus curiously living its best life. That fungus is called Cladosporium sparospermum. I don't know. And some
Doing better than
scientists
I could. So
some scientists think its dark pigment melanin may allow it to harness ionizing radiation through a process similar to the way plants harness light for photosynthesis. This proposed mechanism is even referred to as radiosynthesis. But here's the really funky thing about CS, we'll just say. That's the fungus name. Although scientists have shown that the fungus flourishes in the presence of ionizing radiation, no one has been able to pin down how or why. Radiosynthesis is a theory, one that's difficult to prove. The mystery began back in the late 1990s when a team led by microbiologist Nelly Zandanova of the Ukrainian National Academy of Sciences embarked on a field survey in the Chernobyl exclusion zone to find out what life, if any, could be found in the shelter surrounding the ruined reactor. There, they were stunned to find a whole community of fungi documenting an astonishing 37 species. Notably, these organisms tended to be dark-hued to black, rich with pigment melanin. CS dominated the samples while also demonstrating some of the highest levels of radioactive contamination. As surprising as the discovery was, what happened next deepened the intrigue. Radiopharmacologist Ekaterina Dadachova and immunologist Arturo Casadevall, both with posts at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in the U.S., led a team of scientists that found exposing CS to ionizing radiation doesn't harm the fungus the way it would or other organisms. Let's see. So the fungus and others like it appeared to be harvesting ionized, I'm just skipping down a bit, radiation and converting it into energy, with melanin performing a similar function to the light-absorbing pigment chlorophyll. At the same time, the melanin behaves as a protective shield against the more harmful effects of that radiation. This appears to be supported by the findings of a 2022 paper in which scientists described the results of taking CS into space and strapping it to the exterior of the ISS, exposing it to the full brunt of cosmic radiation. Their sensors placed beneath the Petri dish showed that a smaller amount of radiation penetrated through the fungi than through an agar-only control. The aim of that paper was not to demonstrate or investigate radiosynthesis, but to explore the fungi's potential as a radiation shield for space missions, which is a cool idea, but as of that paper, we still don't know what the fungus is actually doing. So that's really, that's kind of interesting. I guess they're looking at it for use in space travel and things like that, but just think about it just kind of like protective gear and whatnot for people that have to go in and do any investigations in radioactive areas. I don't know. I don't know how they would use it.
I don't know. There's been a whole lot of pulp comic books and science fiction written about, radiation absorbing fungi.
It seems like we're in a, yeah.
Isn't that what some of those weird aliens in like DC comics were, like Starro? They were some kind of weird alien fungus that survived off of stellar radiation. That's how they could cross space and everything. I don't know. It just, yeah.
We're in a simulation.
It could be, hey, it's great. Most hostile environment on the planet. Life finds a way. Or It could be like Jurassic Park and Jeff Goldblum. Life finds a way.
Right. It's interesting to think that they're going to try and use this for something. I can't even believe people are going in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. All right. Well, is it that time of the show? Are we there yet?
Yes, we are there, and we need to get through it because I got to pee.
Doug, you said Steve McQueen and the Blob comes to mind.
Let's see. What the heck? Where's my place? Where my bumps go? StreamYard updated. We've got a cool soundboard, but it also moved around my bumps. So here we go. Yeah, here we go. All right, it's that time of evening. I'm going to present an image that's AI generated. It's y'all's job in the audience to generate the best caption for it. Now, a lot of times when I generate the image myself, I'll put in an instant win condition. That is whoever guesses the caption gets closest to the prompt that generated the image gets the win automatically. But I realized this one's too easy for that. So when I throw this up, what's this guy thinking? Okay. That's where I want you to go with the caption. So what's this guy thinking? So here's your image. Obviously, it's a redneck space marine. So don't even throw that in there. It's obviously a redneck space marine. Okay.
What is a redneck space marine? I've never heard that in my entire life.
It's like was it War Halo 40K? Yeah, that thing.
At first, I thought that he had like a lollipop in his mouth, and it was like popping out a little in his cheek. Now I'm thinking he might have been the guy that found the fungus in Chernobyl. That's a crazy picture. Look at the fibers on the shirt and everything. I'm so always blown away by how crazy good like AI generated images are getting. Yeah,
it's getting better and better all the time. It really is.
I mean, look at the dirt and everything on the outfit. It's just crazy.
Yeah, the
little
detail
flyaway.
face.
Yeah, the detail in the face and like.
Ooh, okay. Let me go ahead and switch over to comments right quick. All right, chat, give us your worst. Oops. There we go. That's the one.
It's not a tumor. That's good, Hardy. Rick says if Brian was a character in Warhammer 40K.
That's got to get voted on. It doesn't meet instant win.
No, but it's close, I guess. Let's see.
I already told you I negated instant win. It's pretty obvious if you're familiar with the lore.
This thing is going to burn in about a minute. AK said, Captain Herpes here to save the day. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Let me see.
I'm kind of leaning toward that's not a tumor.
I know, I like that one too. Hardy says, you can starve me, you can beat me, you can kill me, just don't bore me. That's great.
That's actually a classic movie quote right there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. What is it? The Clint Eastwood movie where he's a Marine, a gunny in not Panama, but oh, dang it. Heartbreaker Edge, yeah.
Heartbreaker Edge?
Yeah.
Wow, he's made a lot of movies. I haven't seen so many. I just saw Pale Rider. That was really good.
That's one of my favorites, actually.
Really? Yeah, that was good.
Yes, ma'am.
That was good. Retreat. We just got here.
That's a famous Marine a quote from a famous Marine.
Oh yeah, there's Hardy with Heartbreak Ridge.
But so far, let's see. I guess the leaders are Let's see. That's not. Where's that at? That's not a tumor. Captain Herpes here to save the day. And we'll go ahead and give Rick's comment a fair vote. If Brian was a character in Warhammer 40K.
Yeah. All right, I got nothing. I can't think of anything. You guys are doing it. Let's leave it to you guys.
So vote 1 for That's Not a Tumor. Vote 2 for Captain Herpes here to save today, and vote 3 for if Brian was a character in 40K.
I came here to I can't even speak. I came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. That sounds like a good day. Man, I'm torn. I guess I'm gonna go with 1 also. Why don't you just sit there and bleed a while before you taste some real pain, Sergeant Tom Highway? I don't know that. I'm guessing that's a quote from a movie, but I don't know.
It is. They're quoting Heartbreak Ridge back and forth to each other. It is a very quotable movie. It is a very quotable movie.
I gotta check it out. Heartbreak Ridge.
Heartbreak Ridge, yes.
I'm gonna write it down.
Well, actually, whose comment was that's not a tumor?
That was Hardy.
Hardy? All right, Hardy, you win it. And I've got a new Discord feature to announce that. So here we go. Winner is Hardy. That's not a tumor.
Yeah. I love it. Congratulations, Hardy. That's awesome. Well, as always, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, for joining us on Sunset Rants. We're happy to be back with all of you guys. And of course, if you want to check out all of our shows and everything, go to our website, riseofmiddleamerica.com. You can see all our socials there. You can join the Discord from there. You could see all of our merch, which is a great way to support the channel. You could use the Q&R code right up at the top of the screen there that just popped up. That'll bring you right to the website, and you can see all of our latest videos and everything like that. Of course, if you want to follow the show, that's RealRoma_AK. You could follow me if you like on X, Elizabitty213A. I'm pretty active on X, generally daily. And Brian as well, Brian Tidwell1. You could check out his bullet points with Brian that he does sometimes, which are great. And yeah, final thought, like we just have to be patient. Just keep your prayers up, because we knew this was going to be a bumpy ride. We had to have known, with everything that Trump was proposing before he was elected. We had to have known this was going to be bumpy. It wasn't going to be easy. And it's not. And prayers to the family of Sarah Beckstrom. That was the National Guardswoman who lost her life defending, protecting this nation. So just prayers to her family. And continue to say prayers for Andrew Wolf, who is still fighting for his life. But they did post today that he's becoming responsive, which is great. When they're calling him, he's looking over, he's wiggling his toes and things. So that's good. There's some progress there. So just continue to pray for him.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, I really have nothing. I've kind of ranted my heart out tonight. With all this stuff going on, That's why probably could have had a better co-host on for you tonight, Biddy, but I really had some stuff I wanted to get out off my chest. So
No,
thanks for
important.
thanks for everything you do every week, ma'am. And from on behalf of the rest of the AKA Roman Nation staff, who we're half on, half off vacation through the new year, roll with it. We'll be around. So night, y'all.
Hi.
Okay, where are you at, my fucker lady? There.
So I got to thinking, there's MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. MAGA, Make America Great Again. But what we really need to do is make America follow the Constitution again. Motherfucker. That sounded better in my head.